Alright, so in order to prepare for this project, I created a folder. I'm going to create a simple Python file so I can get Windsurf to detect this as Python, and we'll create a virtual environment. Now take a look down here. I'm going to create a virtual environment with venv. We'll use the latest version of Python that's on the system. And if you take a look in here, this is the virtual environment with some Python libraries. Windsurf keeps a list of past conversations, so I'm going to go to this one here, which I used the other night. And I'm going to submit this again, and we'll start over. And I'm doing chat, and I'm going to do Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So just to run through this, what this is. And remember, I set that. Remember, I also set that list of rules that hopefully this will obey. But it says you're creating a knowledge base system. Create a typical knowledge base UI, such as one seen here, and I'll get back to that in a second. The technical requirements are Python, Flask, Bootstrap, jQuery. Maybe not the most exciting stack, but this is what I'm most familiar with at this point, so I'll leave it at that. We will initially use SQLite for simplicity, but we'll move to SQL at some point, so keep that in mind. Be sure to initialize the database. And I put this in here because when I was playing with this previously, I had a couple of issues with database initialization, so just want to make sure that that's clean. Let me know how to install the necessary dependencies. The virtual environment has already been created and is active. The directory name is .venv, which we just talked about. Then I ask it to generate an appropriate .gitignore file for the project and include the .venv directory in it. Again, this is a lesson learned from the last time I was playing with this stuff. It does not do this by default. I'm using VS Code as my IDE. I'm actually using Windsurf. Maybe I'll update this. Please make sure that changes to all files such as HTML templates and CSS files trigger an automatic restart of the web server. And I put this in here because I had an issue, and I documented this in my articles. For some reason, the Flask server was not automatically restarting when some files were changed. And I went round and round with that. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I had moved on. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. Well, before I do that, let me show you this image here that I liked. Okay, this is a typical, I think, modern-looking knowledge base with the big search bar, a couple of cards on the bottom. This was something that I pulled from a HubSpot knowledge base. So let's do step one and see where Windsurf takes us. Just gonna hit enter, I guess. Yep. So you'll see it working step by step as it generates and gathers its thoughts. It's pretty interesting. Not sure what this cascade error is. I asked it to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Okay, if you're familiar with Flask, it's creating a requirements.txt file, which is good. I don't know why I'm in read-only mode. That's annoying. Oh, because I needed to do it as right. Okay, we'll fix this in real time. Let me stop this. Alright, so if you are new to this UI, which I guess I am, if you are chatting, it will tell you what to do, but it does not actually make changes to the file. As you can see, it tells you to copy or insert. If you are actually in write mode, then it will actually make those changes, and maybe that uses more AI credits. I'm not sure. So let me start over. Oh, messed that up again. starting over with this, and this time I'll tell it to write. Let's see what happens. Okay, now it's actually creating the .getignore file, which is over here. It's got all the usual stuff, the venv, this database stuff, environment files. This looks decent, I'll accept it. Now the requirements file. Gonna have all the usual Flask stuff, WT form, SQL alchemy, Flask login. All right, that looks reasonable. We'll accept that. Now it needs your permission to run terminal commands, and it's going to do pip install to install those requirements. We'll accept that. If you're interested in seeing what's going on in the terminal view, you view terminal, and this window I believe is emulated over here. It's called Cascade. So anything it does in the terminal is actually coming out of here. It installed all of the necessary libraries. If we go into .venv now, this has Flask and a whole bunch of other stuff in there, so that's good. Create the main application structure. First, create the necessary directories. It's going to do a make dir and a bunch of directories that it needs. Fine. This is a typical structure for Flask. Static directory, templates directory. That's going to create the main application file with proper config for auto reloading. So it's going to create the app.py. Okay, there it is. Your typical imports, some config stuff, great. Some classes for the data, category and article, some basic routes. initdb, good. Okay, I'll accept that. That looks like a reasonable starting point. Now creating base templates. Okay, looks like a nav bar, no copyright bar, some bootstrap. Okay, that looks reasonable. We'll accept that. Index HTML, which is going to pull in the base HTML. Got some Jinja tags here. Okay, again, looks reasonable. We'll accept that. And the article template, which should also pull in base HTML, which is correct. Some breadcrumb navigation stuff, articles container, related articles, okay. Category template. Okay, I'm not quite sure what categories is. Let's see what this looks like. Style sheet. I'm happy to see that it's in a style CSS. Sometimes it litters the files with inline CSS, which is not best practice. So this looks like a good starting point. We'll accept this. I was creating JavaScript for handling search functionality and other interactive features. Let's see what that looks like. Now, one of the things I asked it to do in the rules file is to not mix plain vanilla JavaScript with jQuery. This looks like jQuery stuff. It's been a while. this looks reasonable. I've not really touched jQuery in a while, but we'll go with this. Okay. Now it wants to actually. Oh, interesting. I asked it in the rules to create a change.log. Oh, nice. So initial project setup. This is everything that it did. When I was playing with this the other night, it did not obey me asking it to append to this changes.log file. That was using Cascade. Maybe Claude is a little bit smarter and more obedient. Okay, that looks reasonable. Now it wants to actually run the server, run command. Yes. Now again, it ran it in this terminal. Now, unable to open database file. That's interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to copy and paste this error. After you highlight it, it asks, do you want to add it to the chat? So yes, we'll add it to the chat. Terminal selection, I'm not even going to say anything else, I'll just leave it at that. Wait a minute. Okay, I notice we need to create the instance directory for SQLite. Let me fix that and start the server again. Okay, so I will delete this and accept that. I had a little confusion with this instance directory. Maybe I think it's a Flask thing, but I think this is where it sticks the SQLite file. Now that that directory exists, now we'll run python app.py again. Oh, still have an error here. I have to fix permissions for the instance directory. Okay, I'm on Mint Linux here, so this looks right. And again, what's going on here is mirrored over here. Now we're going to try to start Flask again. Uh-oh. Cannot open database file. There's still nothing in here. Now it's going to update the app.py file to initialize that database properly. So it's going to edit this file. Okay, that's interesting. It changed from instance to KB and ensuring that path exists. Guess that's right. That's it. And we'll accept that and try to run it again. Okay, now it looks like we're starting. Okay, so it looks like it started, but didn't really tell me much. So if I open my browser now and go to :5000, hey, look at that. That actually looks pretty decent. It doesn't really look like what I asked it to build. Doesn't look like this, but we have something here. We have a search. We have some default categories. That's cool. Decent looking UX. Some shadows. Okay, that's a reasonable starting point, but it does not look like this. So I'm going to remind it again to try to emulate this. Although this is really not bad, but it's not what I asked for. I'm saying this looks okay, but I really want to emulate the UI scene here. Please fix. From past experience, I really probably should have made a branch there because it did look decent. But I understand that there's a way to roll back to what you had previously from within this UI. But let's see what the base HTML looks like now. I don't know, I see a bunch of green and red. I assume it knows what it's doing. We'll accept all that, sure. Keep changes. This should accept all of them, right? And that's going to work on the index.html. Okay, hero section. All looks reasonable. Keep those. And it finishes with a cascade error. No credits consumed on this tool call. Okay, so now I'm going to start hitting rate limits. This was something that if you read my articles when I started using Cursor, the free model works, but these API limits are a killer. I believe there's a daily limit and an hourly limit. And when you are actively developing or debugging, you bump into these issues all the time, and you have to wait it out, or you have to pay. So let's just take a look at my my usage here under settings. I've used 19 out of 50 with 31 requests left. I think I started out with 15, so all of that back and forth, I think only used 4 credits. But now I've hit a rate limit here, so I will stop this video here, let it breathe a little bit, and come back a little bit later.